Now, I'm sure you've heard of his story and also her story, but I'm willing to bet that you've never heard of Asian's story. Yes, this is real. And now we must know, is Asian's story better than her story? I'm hoping it's not just a direct rip of his or her story, but maybe throw some Asian influence into the plot. He doesn't have that many videos, so we're just gonna blaze through these real quick.
He threw his microphone at our stylist. Nobody said a word. Not me, not
Extremely
the staff,
violent,
not even our manager, because he knew exactly how much power he had. Every concert, the loudest screams were
Oh my god, it's BTS
for him. He smiled for the cameras, signed every autograph, told every fan, I love you.
I love you guys.
The cameras turned off, everything changed. Where's my food? Why am I waiting? Do your job. Every day someone new went home crying. I just kept telling myself, make it to payday.
You know what's actually messed up? I've heard in the K-pop industry is that a lot of idols can be like this. Like, they're very like loving and endearing on camera, but like with their staff, they're just like an absolute pain in the butt.
Little sister needed surgery. One more paycheck and she'd finally have it. I finally asked our manager, why don't we kick him out? He looked at me, then said, if he leaves, so do the fans.
Yeah,
so
no
I stayed
money.
Quiet. The next day, he walked into rehearsal, looked at all of us and smiled. Remember, without me, this group is nothing. 3 days later, we started rehearsing for the biggest concert of our careers. He stopped the music, looked at our manager and smiled. I've changed my mind about my contract. The room went silent. He crossed his arms, cut everyone's share and give it to me. One of the
What? Okay, I don't think you can just do that. I understand he might be like the breadwinner of the group, but to just be like, yeah, your money belongs to me now. It's a little weird.
dancers actually laughed, thinking he was joking. He wasn't. No raise, no concert. I looked at our manager, waiting for him to finally say no. Instead, he lowered his head, then nodded. Do it. One by one, we signed. Every dollar he took was one less for my little sister's surgery. He smiled.
So
I knew
sad.
you made the right choice. Then, the night of our biggest concert, our sound
Sabotage
engineer
him.
handed me my microphone. Remember, switch it off backstage. I smiled. I won't forget. The concert ended. The crowd erupted. He walked backstage. I followed him. My microphone was still on. He slammed the dressing room door. Where's my money? I carried this entire show. And someone get me my food. I want out of this dump. I've got a club to get to. He kept yelling at the dancers, the stylists, the makeup artists, everyone.
He's
Then
recording.
He stopped. They were shouting. At first, he smiled, thinking the fans wanted more. Then he listened. They don't need you. Again, louder. They don't need you. He looked up at the arena speakers. His face went pale. He ran back onto the stage. 20,000 fans were chanting, they don't need you. He looked at me, terrified. What did you do? I smiled. Nothing. You always said you made this group. Now let's see how you do without one.
Pretty good start. I also do like, as opposed to his or her story, this sounds like an actual human narrator, which I'm pretty sure his and her story were using AI voices, so this feels more genuine.
I snorted ramen noodles through my nose.
You can't just start with that.
For the 5th time that week, because once they
5th time?
realized it happened when I laughed, the bullies turned it into a game. They'd hand me food, tell me to eat it, then do everything they could to make me laugh. They all thought I was just some fat kid who couldn't stop eating. What they didn't know was every meal started at home. Every morning before school, I'd cook, taste it, adjust it, taste it again until it was perfect. It had to be because my mom had been sick for years. The medicine changed how food tasted. If one flavor was even slightly off, she wouldn't eat. So every day I learned
Okay, the mom's a little picky now. She's a bit of a baby.
exactly how much soy sauce, exactly how much salt, exactly how much sesame oil. Then I'd eat breakfast with her, eat lunch at school, and finish whatever she couldn't. She always smiled and said, food shouldn't be wasted. By the end of every day, I'd eaten enough for 2 people. The next morning, our principal announced, after school, we're holding a cooking competition. First prize, $1,000. 1 month of mom's medicine. I wrote my name down. The bullies saw it. And
Wait, what? Wait, wait, what did that nameless say? His name is straight up just Asian. I love it. Hey, what's your race? Asian. What's your name? Asian.
down, the bullies saw it and burst out laughing. The fat kid, I guess eating counts as practice. After school, the competition began. I made mom's fried rice, the same fried rice I cooked hundreds of times. Halfway through, I turned around to grab another egg, and when I looked back, one of the bullies had emptied an entire bag of white powder into my wok. The crowd gasped.
Bro,
ew,
what?
he's putting chemicals in his food.
Whoa, dude, disqualify the guy. Why are you blaming the Asian dude? That's hella racist.
I just started whispering. I picked up the bag, MSG. I couldn't help but smile, because in our house, MSG wasn't the problem. Too much of it was. I tasted the fried rice. Not yet. Too salty, too strong. Most people would have thrown it away, but I'd spent years fixing food before my mom ever took a bite. I grabbed it in a pan,
reverse engineer
more rice, more eggs, more vegetables, then balanced it with soy sauce, sesame oil, and a little garlic. Then a final touch of spring onions. Every ingredient had a purpose, just like my mom taught me. The bullies thought they ruined my dish, but they didn't realize they were testing the exact thing I'd practiced every single day. The judges tasted it. One looked at the others, then back at me. The balance is incredible. people. Another judge smiled. Who taught you to cook like this? I looked over at the bullies.
My dying mom.
Eating. The same kids who laughed every lunch couldn't even look at me. Then the judge.
Wait, what the hell did they make? You're telling me there are 3 people here and they made a burnt triangle. Amazing.
Every lunch couldn't even look at me. Then the judges announced the winner. Me. Turns out eating was practice.
Hey, let's go. I don't really understand the snorting the noodle part, but hey, you do you.
The dog wouldn't stop barking at me over and over. I looked at his food bowl empty. You hungry? I filled it. He didn't even look. He just kept barking. That wasn't normal. Every morning before I left for school, Milo waited by the front door. I scratched behind his ears, give him a treat, then he'd watch me leave. He never barked, never tried to stop me until today. He stepped in front of the door, barking. Then he grabbed my sleeve and started pulling. You need to go outside.
Hey,
I reached for his leash. He ignored it. So I opened the back door. Usually he'd sprint into the yard. This time he didn't move. He just looked at me, then barked again. What do you want? I grabbed his favorite tennis ball, the one he never ignored. I tossed it. It rolled right past him. He didn't even look. Instead, he ran down the hallway, stopped outside.
Is this dog blind? What's going on with his dog? Hello? His dog is not dogging.
Inside my mom's bedroom and barked again. I sighed. My mom always sleeps in. Leave her alone. He barked louder. I walked over. Milo, keep this up and you're not getting treats. But he didn't care. He started scratching at our bedroom door.
Is the mom in danger?
I've never seen him do that before. So I grabbed his collar and pulled him away. He fought against me harder than he ever had before. The second I let go, he sprinted right back, scratching even harder. He ignored
the mom's
everything.
In trouble.
His favorite toy, his favorite treat, nothing mattered except getting me to open that door. Something was wrong. So I opened it. My mom was exactly what she'd always be, still asleep. I smiled.
Okay.
See, I started closing the door. Then I froze. The room was silent, too silent.
The mom is dead. How did the dog sense that?
Mom always snored every morning. Mom? No answer. I stepped closer. Her hand hung over the side of the bed. I picked it up, cold. My heart started racing. I shook her shoulder. Mom? Nothing. I grabbed my phone and called 911. The ambulance arrived minutes later. The doctors rushed her inside. I sat in the waiting room holding Milo's leash, both of us praying she'd be okay. Hours later, a doctor walked out. If she'd got in here even 1 minute later, we couldn't have saved her.
That is a scary looking nurse, man. Get me away from her. If I ever see that person in my hospital, I'm going to the next one.
I looked down at Milo. He looked back at me, tail wagging. I reached into my pocket and pulled out his favorite treat, the same one he ignored that morning. This time, he took it. I smiled. You deserve the whole bag.
Oh, that's cute. I noticed the pacing is almost identical to his story. Like the constant 15,000 camera shots and zoom ins and zoom outs.
A group from the biggest dojo in town walked through our doors. Their master looked around and laughed. 3 people using an entire dojo? You're wasting this place. My dad lowered his head.
The
he was
rival
ready to
dojo
leave.
people.
Before he could, I stepped forward. Then fight for it.
What
The room went silent. The master smiled. 1 match. Your best student against mine. No weapons, no interference. Next week. My dad grabbed my shoulder. What are you doing? You've never even sparred. He wasn't wrong. Every morning my dad called me outside. Time to train. But training never lasted long. My little sister always waited beside us. She dreamed of learning too, but she couldn't. She was born with an immune disease. So instead, my dad taught us something else. Again, we breathed in slowly, then out again. He'd always say, when your breathing stays calm, your mind does too. Some days my sister could barely finish, so I counted every breath with her so she wouldn't have to do it alone. After that, I prepared her medicine, cooked her meals, then climbed the mountain behind our village, carrying 2 heavy buckets. At the very top—
Oh my god, this is so like stereotypical every time you watch like an Asian movie, and this is like the montage you do for training.
Every day I carried those buckets home, then woke up and did it again. For 7 days my dad taught me how to fight. Then the day of the duel arrived. The best student stepped forward. He was twice my size. We bowed, then he attacked. Fast, powerful, every punch—
Wait, hold on. Where does sword go? Why was he holding a sword the entire time? He doesn't even wield it. Hello?
Every kick missed by inches. I never swung back. I just moved again and again. The crowd started whispering, then laughing. His confidence started disappearing. Technique became frustration. Frustration became anger. His punches got wider. His kicks got slow.
You can tell they're the bad clan because they're wearing black.
Into gasps. Mine never changed. I could still hear my dad.
Oh, his chakra.
Stays calm. Your mind does too. Finally, he screamed, "Stop running!" That's when one of his teammates threw him a sword.
Where did the katana come from? Are you serious, dude? It cannot be that deep.
Teammates threw him a sword.
Oh
the
my
crowd
god.
gasped. He'd broken the rules. I looked toward the master, waiting for him to stop the match. He didn't. Then I heard another voice. Catch! I turned. My sister was standing, holding a wooden practice sword. She smiled and tossed it to me. My dad always said, a sword doesn't beat another sword. The person holding it does. He charged.
Oh. Ooh, bars. Now stab him. Stab him right through the heart. Turn into a shish kebab.
One step, one strike. Blade split in half.
Oh
Silence.
my. Now stab him. Fatality.
I raised my fist and got 2 in return.
Kill him! What are you doing? Why the show's over already?
He spat out the dumpling. Everyone in the restaurant went silent because this wasn't just anyone. Dumpling. He was the world's most famous competitive eater. And after one bite, he looked at my mom and said, "This is the worst dumpling I've ever had." My mom didn't say anything because deep down, she knew her restaurant was already struggling. Some days we didn't even sell 10 dumplings. But what he didn't know was that this restaurant was the last thing my dad left us. My parents opened this place together. They spent years building it. Every table, every recipe, every corner of the restaurant.
I love a good dumpling house.
Him. But after my dad passed away, my mom kept it running alone. Even when business slowed down, even when it got harder every year, she refused to let go. Then the competitive eater stood up. Before leaving, he pointed at the biggest dumpling on the menu. "I'll make you a deal. If someone here can finish that, I'll tell my followers this is the best dumpling shop I've ever been to. But if they fail, you close this place." My mom immediately refused. "We're not risking our restaurant." He smirked. I figured, then turned toward the door. "Wait, I'll do it." My mom grabbed my arm. "You've never done anything like this." I looked at the empty tables, then at her. "If I don't, we lose anyway." She closed her eyes and then quietly nodded. A giant bamboo steamer was placed in front of me.
Whoa, that's gigantic.
Dumpling. The timer started. 60 minutes. The first few bites were easy. Then my stomach started fighting back. Every bite was harder than the last. Halfway through, the competitive eater leaned back, smiling. I knew it, but I kept eating. One bite, then another. Soon, only a quarter remained. His smile disappeared. He stood up, walked over, and accidentally knocked my water off.
Bro, what is with people, like competitors, playing really dirty? It was first the school competition and now this, man. Just play a fair game.
To the dumpling. It soaked straight through, making every bite twice as heavy. He shrugged. Oops. My mom reached for the plate. "That's enough." "Not yet." 5 minutes, 3 bites. 1 minute, 1 bite. The timer started beeping. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I swallowed the final bite. The competitive eater stared at the empty plate, then laughed. "Fake. You switched the dumpling. There's no way a kid finished that." Then he stormed out the front door. His cameraman never moved. He looked down at his camera, then said, "I got everything." That night, he uploaded the footage, the cheating, the excuses, everything. By the next morning, millions of people had watched a famous competitive eater lose, then blame a kid for cheating. A week later, people lined up around the block. My mom looked out the window. "Do you think they're here for the challenge?" I looked at the customers walking out, carrying boxes of dumplings. They came for the challenge. They'll come back for your dumplings.
Hell yeah. Now go find that guy and stab him with your wooden sword.
He handed me a black envelope. Inside was enough money that my mom would never have to work again. He said, "One job, that's all." I looked down.
Okay, dude, you can't just go up to someone's house and just wear this on. Like, there's better approaches here.
That's all. I looked down at the envelope, then I remembered every night I ate cup ramen alone. My mom wouldn't get home until after midnight. She worked 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. A year earlier, my dad stood at our front door. He looked at my mom, then at me, and said, "I'm going to fix this." Then he left. A year passed, still no calls, no
He went to get milk, am I right?
letters, nothing. One afternoon, everyone at school was opening the new Pokemon packs.
Pokemon!
I asked my mom if I could have one too. She smiled. "We'll see." The next morning, one was waiting on my desk. I ran downstairs to thank her, but she was already gone. I opened the fridge. There was almost nothing inside. That's when I—
Wow, what an insane fridge setup. Bro, what is— okay, I understand they're poor, right? No one puts soy sauce in their fridge. Soy sauce is not supposed to be refrigerated. And why do they have just an empty container? Throw that shit out, dude. These are some fake ass Asians.
Inside. That's when I realized she skipped groceries so I could fit in. That day, I decided I'd make enough money so she'd never have to work again. That night, 5 of us drove—
Bro, pull a PSA 10 Shadowless Charizard and you're Gucci.
Through an empty street. One of them pulled out a zip tie, then pointed at me. "Tie his hands." I frowned. "Whose?" "Yours." Before I could react, they grabbed me. That's when I realized I wasn't part of the mission. I was the mission. Before anyone could move, gunshots echoed through the street. The man beside me dropped. Then another. Then another. Within seconds, I was the only one left. Heavy footsteps echoed towards me.
Dad?
The man stepped out of the darkness. His face hidden. He cut the zip ties off my wrists, and the black envelope fell from my pocket. His shoulders dropped. "They gave you one too." I stared at him. "How do you know what this is?" He slowly pulled down his mask. "Dad?" He closed his—
I'm sorry, but how do you not recognize your dad? Like, you're telling me if I go like this, I'm just a different person now?
eyes. I was supposed to come home tomorrow. Then headlights appeared at the end of the street. He glanced behind me. They found us. He pulled the pistol from his jacket, checked the magazine, then looked back at me. They gave me the same envelope. I left so I could make enough money for our family. When I finished, I told them I was done. They smiled. I thought they were letting me leave. The next morning, I found out they recruited a new kid. His voice began to shake. Then I saw your name. My heart stopped. You were never the new recruit. You were my hostage. They knew I'd never leave if they had you. So before they could bring you to me, I found found them first. Car doors started slamming shut, one after another. He tore the envelope in half. Go. What about you? He looked at me. I left so you and your mom could have a better life. I'm not letting them take that away. He pushed me toward the alley. I turned back.
Money.
Dad! He smiled, then raised his pistol. A week later, someone knocked on our front door. My mom opened it and couldn't move. She thought she was seeing a ghost. My dad had finally come home.
Oh, he lived? Wait, what?
That night, for the first time in over a year, the three of us ate dinner together.
Oh my god. Okay, I must say, dude, this guy's eyebrows are kind of chopped here.
Every Tuesday, my math tutor waited outside my school. He was always there 5 minutes early.
Hello, I am
Rain,
Chinese.
Snow, it didn't matter. Every lesson ended the same way. He'd pat me on the shoulder and say, I'm proud of you. I always thought that was a strange thing for a math tutor to say. Whenever I got a question right, he smiled, like he'd won.
Oh my god, is his name still Asian?
And when I got one wrong, he never got frustrated. He'd just say, let's try again. One afternoon, I asked him, why
Good
do you
teacher.
care so much? He looked at me for a long time, then said, because I know what you're capable of. He never explained. After every lesson, he stood by the front door of his old rundown house, watching me walk all the way home. Only after
Okay, that's a little creepy for student and teacher dynamic. Unless he's like acting more like a father figure, it still gives little creep vibes.
I disappeared, did he go back inside? I never understood why. Then, one day, halfway through our
Oh, he's trying to bang his mom. I get it.
lesson, I asked, can I use your bathroom? He nodded. Second door on the left. While I was washing my hands, I opened the top cabinet looking for paper towels. But when I went to
Jump
open
scare.
it, something fell out. A photograph slipped
Huh?
onto the floor, and I picked it up. It was me,
It's him.
maybe 3 years old, sitting on someone's shoulders. I turned it over, and on the back were two words, my son.
Who just has a photo and like the name behind it? Like, hey, here's a picture of my dog. Guess what it says on the back? Dog.
My heart stopped. I walked back into the living room holding the picture. Why do you have this? The color drained from his face. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then he quietly said, I always wondered how long it would take. I stared at him. What are you talking about?
Oh, they're
He pulled out
actually
a chair
related?
and slowly sat down. I wasn't always your math tutor. I'm your father. I couldn't speak.
What?
He looked at the photograph. The accident took your memories. The doctor said
Oh, that's sad.
surgery would cost more than I could ever afford. The only family who could save you wanted to adopt you. So I signed the papers because losing you was better than burying you. I felt my eyes fill with tears.
That's so
Then
sad.
why didn't you tell me? He looked away. You finally had the childhood I always wanted you to have. I couldn't take that away. So instead, I settled for being your math tutor. That's when I realized every Tuesday he wasn't teaching me algebra. He was spending the only hour each week he got to be my dad. And every time he said, I'm proud of you, he wasn't talking to a student. He was talking to his son.
Oh, that's kind of sad. But what are the odds that you track down your son and end up being his math tutor?
My dad stood up in the middle of the audience and walked out. I'd never seen him leave a competition before. My brother never showed up.
Piano.
Nobody knew why. Not even me. Every time my brother missed a note, my dad would stop him and say, again. Sometimes
Oh, I thought he was gonna say you'd beat him.
he'd spend 20 minutes playing the same 10 seconds over and over. Then, the moment he finally got it right,
I have a question. Why are pianos so attractive to Asian people? Like, if you see an Asian person on the street, there's like an 80% chance that they played piano. I've actually never played the piano in my life, though.
Dad would smile. That's my son. Every competition, my parents sat in the front row. Every trophy went into the cabinet above our fireplace. Sometimes I'd stand there, imagining one with my name on it. I wanted to learn piano
I
too.
cannot get over the fact that he just calls himself Asian.
Name on it. I wanted to learn piano too, not because I loved music, because I wanted my parents to look at me the way they looked at him. Then one afternoon,
envy.
a second piano arrived. I couldn't stop smiling.
A second piano had hit the house.
I thought, finally, this one's for me. But my dad never called me downstairs. Days turned into weeks. The piano stayed untouched, except by my brother. Every afternoon, he practiced 4 hours without missing a day. Whenever I walked toward the piano, he'd stop me. Dad said, I'm practicing. Then he'd close the door. Eventually, I stopped asking. Until years later, I finally asked my mom, why didn't dad ever teach me? She looked down, then quietly said, the day the second piano arrived, your dad told your brother, now both my boys can become pianists. Your brother looked at him and said, if he has to practice, I'm done. Your dad laughed.
Wait, what? What's wrong with the brother? Why does he want his own brother to play piano? Oh, is this like, does he have like a security complex? Like he wants to be the shining light in the family?
He thought your brother was bluffing. He wasn't. He skipped the biggest competition of his life. Then he refused to touch the piano. Days passed, then weeks. Your dad begged him to play again. Your brother only said one thing. You'll have one pianist or none. The next morning, he sat back down and practiced for another 8 years. I looked at my mom, but why? Her eyes filled with tears. He knew exactly what those 4 hours felt like. He wanted you outside, riding your bike, playing with your friends, having the childhood he never had. That's when I looked at the trophy cabinet, and for the first time, I didn't envy it. I I understood what every trophy had really cost. My entire childhood, I thought my brother had everything. I never realized he gave it all up so I wouldn't have to.
That is a weird message. Why couldn't you just do a balance of both? Play the piano and spend time with your friends. The older brother's acting like he's like the big sacrifice in the family. Bro, just go outside.
Every lunch, I opened my mom's homemade dumplings.
Ooh,
Before I could take a bite,
good.
the bully pinched his nose. Your
Why is there always a bully?
food stinks. Then he knocked my lunch onto the floor. His friends laughed. The bully looked at me. What are you gonna do about it? I looked down, picked up.
Why are people? I don't understand. Like why people are offended when they smell someone else's lunch in school. It's like, brother, it's not my fault. Your parents should feed you freaking pasta and bread every day. It's not my fault that your parents have zero palate.
Every dumpling, one by one. Then I said, not yet. The next day, he dumped my lunch into the garbage. What about now? Not yet. A week later, he shoved me into my locker. His friends surrounded me. You gonna fight back? Not yet. They laughed even harder.
Wait until I get my wooden sword and then we'll talk.
Months passed, everyone thought I was scared. What nobody knew was every night I'd wake up and see the kitchen light on. My mom still wearing her work clothes, folding dumplings long after midnight. She had work the next morning, but she still made them every day. Before the sun came up, I was training, running, lifting, learning how to fight. Because every morning I remembered those dumplings lying on the cafeteria floor, and I trained harder. Then one Friday, he grabbed my lunch and threw it away before I even opened it. I looked down at the dumplings sitting in the garbage. He laughed. What? Your mom can just make more.
Yeah, can this guy just like eat somewhere else? Why is he always eating next to the bully? Go outside. Go to like a table. Screw this guy.
And he leaned closer. It's not like she has anything better to do. For the first time, I looked him in the eyes. After school, he stopped laughing. What? You and me, we're done waiting. He smiled. You better call an ambulance. You're gonna need one after this. By the final bell, half the school was waiting outside. The bully stepped into the circle, laughing. He finally grew a spine. I took off my backpack and set it on the ground. I didn't say a word. He charged and threw the first punch, but I could see them, the punches. Before they happened, left hook, I ducked. Right up, I stepped aside.
Ultra instinct.
Missed. Another missed. Months of training made everything feel slower. The crowd started cheering. The bully got
Beat his
angrier.
ass.
He swung harder, faster, but he couldn't touch me. Then he stopped. He looked around and grabbed a brick. The crowd went silent.
Bro, what is with people in these fights resort to cheating when they're like losing badly? Just take the L.
The first time, I
it never ends well
because I realized dodging his punches wasn't enough. I had spent months learning how to avoid getting hurt, but if I didn't stop him, someone else would get hurt next. He charged, holding the brick above his head. I waited until the last second, then I stepped forward and threw one punch right on his jaw. The brick fell from his hand. His eyes rolled back. His body went limp. He hit the pavement. I looked past him at every friend who laughed, who shoved me, who mocked my mom's cooking. One of them laughed. What are you looking at? I looked past him. Not you. The ambulance. I called for him.
Okay, and then when he's passed out, go up to him and put a dumpling in his mouth and like spin it in his little like tonsils.
I put on my headset, ready to game with my friends, but I quickly realized it wasn't my friends I was hearing. It was two men mid-sentence. The store closes at 10. The other replied, good. The owner's son usually stays behind to lock up. My hands froze because my parents owned a store. Just a few minutes away from my house, they had a Japanese restaurant, and every night after school, I helped them close. I leaned closer to my headset, and then I heard the back entrance doesn't have a camera. My stomach dropped. They weren't talking about some random store. They were talking about mine. I immediately messaged my friends, get online right now. Within minutes, 4 of them joined my lobby, but that was my biggest mistake because I heard the sound coming through their mic. They heard, and my heart stopped. The voices on the other end went completely silent. Then one of the men said, did you hear that? Nobody spoke. The other man replied, someone's listening. My entire body went cold. They knew. I instantly disconnected the call. I called my parents, no answer. I called again, nothing. I grabbed my bike and raced toward the store. The entire way there, I kept telling myself I was overreacting. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it wasn't my store. But when I turned the corner, I saw the front door wide open. The lights were still on and something was wrong. Shelves had been knocked over. Glass was scattered across the floor. The cash register was open. But the strangest part was that nobody was there. Nope, there was open. But there was open. 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 But the strangest part was that nobody was there. No customers.
It's a
no
trap.
employees.
Get out.
No
Get out.
parents. I ran behind the counter calling their names. Mom, Dad, nothing. Then I noticed something on the floor. Footprints. Fresh, muddy footprints leading from the entrance straight toward the back room. I slowly followed them. My hands were shaking because when I looked back, I realized something. My own footprints were everywhere, going in and coming back out. But those footprints only went one direction, toward the back room. Whoever made them never left.
I felt that story didn't feel very complete. I kind of wanted to see him cut some people up, no?
I handed my dad my report card. He stared at it, then walked into the garage. A few seconds later, I heard metal scraping
Bro, why my guy got the shotgun gun all of a sudden?
across the concrete, and something heavy slammed into the wall. wall. I stood outside the garage door, too scared to open it. The only thing on my report card was 1B. Up until then,
Oh my god, dude, it is not helping the Asian stereotype at all.
I never gotten anything below an A. That night, I barely slept. All I could think about was what my dad was doing behind that door. The next morning, I finally opened the garage. The ping pong table was gone, and so was my paddle, the one he'd given me when I was 6. I looked through every closet, every cabinet until I spotted it, sitting on my dad's shelf. I reached for it, but he stopped me. You're done playing. I looked at him. Because of 1B, he didn't answer, and for months, the table stayed gone. My paddle stayed on his shelf, and after a while, I stopped thinking he'd ever change his mind.
Bro, I feel like Asian parents need to stop over-exaggerating when their students get a B. I know it's the meme, the stereotype with Asian parents, but it's like, bro, 1B is not gonna kill you. I should know, I got a lot of Fs.
So one night after I heard him snoring, I crept into his room and I grabbed the paddle, and for the first time in months, it was back in my hands. And then I turned it over and there was a name carved into the bottom.
Leo.
My dad's? I froze. This wasn't my paddle, it was his. The next day I went back into the garage, and behind the shelves I found an old box. Inside were dusty trophies, then pictures of my dad, about my age, holding the same paddle, standing beside those same trophies. And at the very bottom was an old report card. 1B folded inside it was a note. No more ping pong until your grades improve. I just stood there staring at it. That's when I understood. My dad wasn't angry. He was terrified I'd end up just like him. That night, I found him sitting alone in the garage. I held out the paddle. He took it and ran his thumb across the name carved into the wood. I asked, "Did you ever miss playing?" He looked down at the paddle and smiled. Every day. And after a long silence, he looked at me and quietly said, "Help me set the table back up." We played our first game together, and this time, neither of us kept score.
Why is the ball fusing through the damn net, dude? That's not real ping pong. Okay, that was kind of a weird story. I think it's maybe my least favorite one. Oh, damn, that was it. That was all the shorts already? Okay. It is very his and her story coded for sure. Everything feels a little too serious. I feel like everything is kind of like a thriller or like a revenge story, bully story. I think they did throw in a few more like fun stuff in there. Honestly, pretty good. Better than I expected. I'm Chinese.